Good afternoon. Ma'am, I will be asking you a set of questions today. I ask you to respond them to your best of your ability. How are you today, Mr. Delgado?
Feel fine.
That's good. It's pretty sunny outside. Nice weather.
Yeah, I guess I hadn't noticed.
Hmm. Why? Is there something bothering you?
Well, I mean, I am pretty nervous because I'm being interrogated, so that might have something to do with that.
Well, you were brought in here due to the disappearance of Icarus Downey. This will be fairly easy and non-troubling if there isn't something to hide, of course. Give or take, it should take around 5 minutes or less, give or take. Just to make things clear, this will be recorded but will not be available to the public.
Of course.
Well, let's get started then. The quicker we start, the sooner you can go home. Today is November 9th. Time is 6:30 p.m. I am Officer Delgado Cruz and will be interviewing Rosalyn Delgado over the disappearance of Icarus Downey. Can you repeat the date and your name, please?
The date is November 9th of 2020, and my name is Rosamund Gallo.
Okay, I just asked you to speak up a little louder so the record machine could pick it up.
Okay.
What relationship do you hold with the Downeys?
I am affiliated by them by nature, I guess.
What do you mean affiliated by nature? Can you please explain that to me?
Yeah, sure. The twins' father, John, is the pastor of the Catholic church I go to. I'm a part of the youth group who is led by his wife, Teresa. They heard about me sitting other children in town and asked me if I could do them a favor. Eventually, they entrusted me with the care of their children when they had to head out occasionally.
Do you know where they could go during these times you were called in?
No, I wouldn't ask because none of my business. But the twins would mention them heading out of town to meet with the pastors or something.
How frequently would you babysit the twins?
Maybe 2, 3 times a month. Like I said, they only called me when they had to head out of town.
2, 3 times a month, huh? It sounds to me like you probably formed a friendship with the twins.
Yeah, I did. Or adorable brothers who are different from each other. A handful to take care of though at times, but I really enjoy spending time with children.
Different from each other, how?
Well, Icarus is quite different from Indigo in the sense of where the latter is more timid, quiet, doesn't like to put much attention to himself when not needed. He usually spends more time on his own reading the Harry Potter series, and sometimes I sit by him to hear it.
What about Icarus?
I guess he goes by his name. Icarus is very confident, very outgoing, and very curious about everything. It gets him in trouble sometimes. When he has you in his line and vision, it's pretty hard to avoid his curious stare. He's a nice, well behaved boy, but extremely hyper.
Did his misbehaving result in him leaving your line of supervision occasionally?
Well, that night was like any other night when I was called in to babysit.
But was it too hard to handle taking care of two twins? They must be both energetic and wild.
Yeah, sometimes they were a handful, but I'm used to it, I guess. I have 6 other siblings, and I'm in the middle. It's a lot, but I've grown accustomed to notice when one is missing. So when I noticed there wasn't any, noise besides the sound of indigo reading, I felt there was something wrong.
It must be hard to think about that night. So I appreciate all the help you've given me so far. You said in the police report you were upstairs with Indigo when you realized it was too quiet and Icarus hadn't stopped by to bug the both of you. Correct? Can you repeat the events after you realized something was wrong?
If it helps the investigation, I guess I told Indigo to go home to continue while I headed downstairs to fetch a glass of milk for the both of us. But it was just an excuse to check up on Icarus. I went downstairs and all I found was the back door slightly ajar. There was no clue where Icarus would have gone to.
Did you see something out of place? Something strange besides the door?
Well, the back door was slightly open. It was to the lake was open as well.
So the back door to the lake was open.
Yes.
When asked about that night, Indigo had mentioned you were gone for a pretty good time when you left to fetch for a glass of milk. What happened between the time frame where you left Indigo and when you called the authorities about the missing boy?
I was in shock. I thought if the door was open, Icarus might have walked out and decided to venture in the backyard. The Downey's residence is a walkway foot away from the lake, and they have another back door to prevent them from wandering to that lake, but Indigo could have easily unlocked it.
Okay, let's say the boy drowned, which we still have yet to locate a body. Where did he get the key from? From what we were informed by his parents, the key is located at the top of the shelves. How could Icarus reach that? Icarus is a 3-year-old boy measuring less than 3 feet.
I don't know.
The door could not have been tampered with, any of the doors, because there was no evidence of forced entry in any of the two mentioned doors, let alone windows.
I said I don't know. I don't know. I walked downstairs looking for him and he was gone.
Okay, I think we can stop this portion of the interview and continue in the near future. I can see you're quite nervous, and I understand these things aren't easy, but all we want to find is answers. I really appreciate the help you've given me.
I'm sorry if I wasn't any help. I already gave all I know in the police report. I hope we find Icarus because before something bad happens.
Yes, we do too. It is 7:30, and I, Officer Delgado Cruz, am marking the end of this interview with Rosalyn Delgado. Can you repeat the day, your name, and confirm the ending, please?
Today is November 9th of 2020. My name is Rosa Delgado, and I hereby confirm the closing of this portion of the interview.
During this interview, I conducted a semi-constructed interview along my sister. I asked a single question, and with that, it led me further to probe more questions from the initial answer I had asked, in a nice, flowy manner. The purpose was to find any answers that could help me in finding the disappearance of the victim. I used techniques in order to reduce error from either party during the interview. As any interrogation, I affirmed to the interviewee that although the process will be recorded, it will remain confidential between the two of us and to the case. Many would find this intimidating if not told about this. It would causing them to less likely speak about anything they know in connections to the crime/case. Considering my role is to play an officer interviewing someone in question, I must be extremely careful in granting a trust between I and the interviewee. Another technique I used was to take notes of things that intrigued me and will come in handy in the end eventually. The last technique I used was ending the interview as soon as I thought that the questions I deemed most important were not being answered. I noted down the interviewee's constant staring off, holding onto their arms, occasionally looking to my paper. These are clear signs the interviewee is uncomfortable. I would not want to cause any error in the case by constantly pushing the interviewee to speak about something that has clearly caused some stress/trauma to them. And at last, I ended the interview.